Hey there, welcome to the Gyro Step, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN, and presented by our pals at Prize Picks. Folks, it's time. Potentially the final game of the men's professional basketball league we follow happening tonight. Last chance to use code EuroStep to get $50 when you play $5 for the first time, win or lose on Prize Picks. I'm Ty Windisch, one of your hosts, joined as always by my lovely compatriot Rohan Katti. We're going to talk about different Bucks off-season scenarios, including our favorites and a couple of more depressing ones that hopefully aren't the case. Rohan, how's it going?
I'm doing well. Can't complain. It's always a fun time talking basketball with you, Ty.
Thank you.
So I'm in a good place.
Yeah, me too, buddy. Me too. Before we get to the scenarios,
How are you enjoying the warm weather? What's the weather like in Oshkosh?
It's decent. It's 73 today. It looks like it's going to top out at 80. It's been a while since I've done weather talk. Looks like 89, 91, 91 this weekend. You'll catch me inside. 90 is too much for me. I'm a 70s guy.
A lot.
Honestly, I like the 60s. This is, outside of the planet might erupt thing, the real pain of global warming is it just feels like 60 degrees is the rarest of rares now. We just go from
Right?
30 to 70. I don't care for it. I don't care for it one bit.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, I like a low 70s. I don't know if I'm gonna say 60s.
Low 70s with a slight breeze. That might be the
Yes,
ultimate weather. Which, you know what I hear?
that's peak weather.
I hear that San Diego is just like that all the time.
It is. Yeah, I'm going there next month.
You'll have to do a scouting report. Maybe downplay it. Because I've successfully convinced myself that just like Wisconsin is the place. And I don't know if I want to hear good reports. From
It's
now on,
fair.
if you go
Wisconsin
somewhere,
really is the place.
if you go somewhere wonderful, you're like, Tokyo, it's okay. It's no Nina, but it's got its strengths. Downtown Nina hits.
I want to go to Osaka.
Okay.
I'm trying to travel.
Yeah.
But maybe I just need to go to Nina.
Maybe you just need to go to Nina.
Maybe I need to go to
the
Soldiers Grove.
the Paris of the Fox Valley. Soldiers Grove, great pull. Shout out to our Soldiers Grove listeners. The big thing we wanted to cover before we jumped into Bucks offseason scenarios, which we're going to, again, our ideals, like what can they do with trades, free agency, the draft, etc. Giannis is a TikToker now, and apparently is going to be a streamer now. And it's just incredible. You're not even really on TikTok. I had been off TikTok, and Giannis was posting more on Instagram too. And I was like, oh, this is fun.
He's
Whatever.
just posting more in
He's
general.
just a poster, and he's really posting. So you could say, oh, Giannis has always been active on socials. The Bucks team basically ran those accounts and just like posted, high quality, right, high production value stuff there, but it wasn't really Giannis. This stuff is really Giannis. There's no team behind this. The production values are terrible. He's going through every filter on TikTok and making different videos. He's reacting to videos about how he's the Phillip Rivers of the NBA, which is incredible content. I mean, he's totally out of control. Mariah
Is
is
he
in
the
these
Phillip
videos.
Rivers of the NBA? Is there an active NBA player with more kids
I mean,
in their nuclear family?
yeah, okay, great distinction, because that's an important one for Phil, and I think we could talk about other NBA players who are maybe the Antonio Cromartie of the NBA. Giannis might be the Phillip
Shout out
Rivers.
Mr. Climax.
No. Not, well, I mean, no. Don't reverse shout out. Hope he's okay for game 6 here tonight. But these videos are great. Giannis is having a lot of fun in the offseason, of course. I feel like, have we ever had this many posters on the Bucks? Like, did you see that they put out, the Bucks account put out that reel of like, Bucks core or whatever. And one of them was like Dame was going to fight Giannis, and like Dame is tagging Giannis in this. Kuz is tagging Giannis. Bobby Portis is going on shows and then commenting in the comments of those shows about Giannis and his future. I don't remember the last time we've had this many posts.
No, I don't think the Bucks have ever been this online as we've seen this summer. It's just it's a new level.
Yeah.
It's the, not to sound very old, but it's like it's today's day and age,
But the funny thing is, it's like it's not the young guys. the young guys barely even post. Ajax posts like a cornerback or something. It's kind of cryptic.
What's that one tweet where it's quarterback goes corner, and then the wide receiver, just like the most cryptic thing of all time.
Yeah, exactly. And then the tight end is just like Texas Roadhouse.
Just drink some milk.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, exactly. Ajax just got like some song lyrics or something.
Just down in milk right now.
Yeah. I'm a fan of it. I think it's all fun. I even like the Kuz post, but it's just fun to see Giannis having fun. Not I guess taking things too serious. He had his little Brazil tour. Now he's going to Greece. Apparently some Bucks young guys are joining him. He'll probably force them to make videos. Kind of
AJ Green, Ryan Rollins?
Well, and then no, Marcus then went back and said maybe not those guys, but some young guys.
Okay.
Which is like, is Giannis like waiting till post draft? Like, are there going to be some more fun young guys? I don't know the selection process here, but if you want to know, just watch the TikToks because kind of a power imbalance, right? Like, are you going to say no to being on Giannis's terrible TikTok? You can't.
No, you can't. You can't.
So we're going to see these guys. Cannot. We're going to see these guys who have way more awareness of this platform just be like, okay, I'll do the little dance with you or whatever. I think it's going to be awesome.
I think the funniest part, I saw a little section of his live.
Oh yeah,
appearance.
Which by the way, you can go back and watch it. So where did you see it? Did you see it posted somewhere else or on his TikTok?
No, it's screen recording.
Okay, so that's important because you can watch it. He posted it in 2 10-minute videos on his account with really loud background noise. Like you can't hear what he's saying on the live. So it's just him and Mariah. Yes, if you go to his TikTok account right now. There's they let you post longer videos now. I think it's just the same things. But he clearly, like, going through, like, I think it'll default to music. There's just really loud background music. And all the comments are like, Giannis, you're my GOAT, but you got to turn the music down. They call him Unk on there because he clearly doesn't fully understand the platform. This is probably his first time on TikTok.
Oh, it has to be, right?
Like, actually using.
You know who got him on TikTok, probably?
Who?
Mamu.
Oh, yeah.
Mamu was a TikTok
Mamu
guy.
was like the one Bucks TikToker, wasn't he?
Yep. It was him and it was Jordan Wara a little bit.
Yes. But they would do those dances. They got Mamu. Drew to do those dances. You're right. That was the first era, but it didn't really catch.
Yeah, especially because they weren't.
Those guys were gone. Yeah, and then they were gone.
Mamu's doing well. Good for Mamu.
A real NBA player. The funny thing about Horst's draft record is pretty good in the second round.
Terrible in the first round, good second round.
This draft bodes well. No current first round pick.
It does. But the best thing about the live section that I saw was at one point it just freezes a little bit. Like it just kind of goes off. And then it just comes back and he'd clearly just been like trying to decline a call. And then Mariah's just like, yeah, it's the Bucks refs trying to tell you to get off TikTok.
She's hysterical on these, by the way. And people have divisive feelings about TikTok, whatever. I don't want to get into that. I will just say, if you're a big fan of Giannis, that's where the good stuff is. He's posting on the other platforms too. Like he posts on Instagram. The TikTok is like just.
You might make me get on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok at all. I just see the TikToks that are sent to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously prominent enough where that might do it as well. If you're against that platform, people will continue sharing them, I'm sure. But it's all been very, very funny. And I'm sure there's going to be some good stuff with the Antetokounmpos live in Greece and Athens, I think July 1, which a lot of folks are presuming they may just announce TA's contract then, which would be epic.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, after the legal tampering window.
It's John Horst walks on stage.
Could you imagine with the paperwork?
And then they just have TA sign the contract live on pod.
There's a non-zero chance.
I think there is. I think there's. What do we put in the odds at?
10%, just because.
10%?
Well, what isn't legal tampering like June 30?
Yeah.
So either Horst does it in Greece or has to like do the Bucks offseason in a day and then flies over to Greece. Like, it's
or do they send Milt?
No, Horst would want to be there, I assume. Maybe he just has Milt do it. Like, I don't know. That's the only difficulty.
Yeah, I guess they can't have him sign the contract because it's July 4 or 5?
Oh, yeah. He can't officially.
Or no, it's a week later. I think it's the 6th or the 7th.
Yeah, I think they could agree, but he wouldn't actually sign it. But they
maybe
could,
they
could announce
John
it. They could announce it. Yeah.
They could be like, hey, here's our contract negotiations. You want to come back?
John Horst on Zoom. Maybe they Zoom him in.
That'd be funny. It'd be funny trying to get them to make Zoom work.
Yeah. I was going to say across the ocean, but I guess it doesn't really matter if there's internet on both sides, right?
Yes, it doesn't. Yes, there is internet in Greece time.
No, I know that. I back when phone calls were a thing, just the longer the distance, the harder it was. But that's kind of not a thing anymore. That was my point.
Were you? How old? That's not a thing for your generation.
Yes, it was. We had the phone before we had internet. Yes, it was.
You know, phone lines have existed across the it's the same lines.
Well, yeah, but I think the ping is different.
No. I mean, yes, they've retrofitted the fiber optics, but yeah.
Yeah, well, okay. Internet-wise, too, it used to be more of a hassle to get a hold of someone across the sea.
Yes, that's fair. I will give you that.
I'm not referring to the telegraph era here, Rohan.
That's what I'm like, bro. You're not old.
Although it still blows my mind. The fact that they could telegram on ships back in the day, I still don't understand that one. Still don't get it. I'm going to have to do some research on that.
Got to get into that subreddit.
Can you explain that? I don't know if they have a subreddit for ship telegraphs, but if they do, I would.
They have a subreddit for everything.
Unfortunately.
They got submechanophobia, so they got anything.
Submechanophobia bangs. Although, actually it doesn't now, and I'll tell you why. This is going to sound like I'm going in a bad direction. We're just too soft now as a society because people post in submechanophobia, which if you don't know, submechanophobia is the fear of underwater stuff. So in the heyday, this subreddit was here's a flooded factory and the steps underwater and it just looks all cooler. Here's a big ship with a big chain. If you're not into it, it doesn't make sense. If this sounds appealing to you, we have the same kind of brain. But now it's oh, here's a basketball in a puddle, damn near. And it's that's not scary to anyone. Just step over it. Oh, here's a mostly drained pool with 1 inch of water. How is that scary to you? Come on. And even the comments, too. I'm not the only one. I don't comment, but I see the comments. People will be like, dude, this is not. I have submechanophobia. This is not scary. So I just think.
Is it genuine? A basketball in a puddle?
I haven't seen that. That was a Gyro Step example, but there's some weak ones on there where you're just no one finds this scary. I don't know if it's bots or what. Just anything with water involved. But it's disappointing. It's gone downhill.
Dang, that was your subreddit. Not to put you on blast, but
no. Now I'm on the Bill Simmons one. So those people are hilarious. The way they poke fun at all those characters on.
Oh, that's another bit of news. Doc Rivers was on the Bill Simmons podcast.
Yeah, it's a good call. I really enjoyed it actually. I don't know if you listened, if you cared to listen or not.
I've listened to half of it.
He's an orator. He really is.
Here's the thing about Doc
and
the way he talks. First of all, you got to go see your throat guy, man.
I assume he did.
Second of all, I hope so.
What if it's not what we think? What if the throat guy is making him raspier? Cranking it back up.
He goes to a throat guy to make his voice worse?
Yeah, like Doc likes the rasp. It gives him a certain air.
He likes the rasp and wants to make it worse. That's your theory?
Air. I don't know. Just something to throw out there.
Okay, that's fair. I thought you were going to go a different direction.
Nope.
But here's the thing about Doc.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's because I'm not looking at him in the context of coaching the Milwaukee Bucks right now.
It's important to compartmentalize. Somebody was like, I got so mad when I saw this. My head got hot. I was like, you should walk outside and listen to some Vivaldi. It's not good for you.
Nice. It's a good call.
Yeah. Such an underrated composer, but go on.
I was not expecting that. I was about to go on we could do a whole podcast about classical music.
We should.
However,
dead of off season. Dead of off. We can do. Yep. Here's what we'll do. Which symphony is which Bucks player? Mark that down for August. Mark that down for August. Maybe September.
But the thing about Doc and listening to him on the pod, I'm like, where's the disconnect? Because I'm listening to him break down Game 5 of the NBA Finals, and then I think back to him coaching the Bucks, and I'm like, what? Is this the same guy? Genuinely, is it the same guy?
So here's the thing, and Zach Lowe had a good bit on Tibbs like this too, and I think it all applies to Doc, and I think it all applies to Bud as well. It's not that they don't know the benefits of playing a different way. It's that they're either so firm on the consistency of playing the way that they started, or they see drawbacks, so they don't want to experiment as much, like potential drawbacks. Like, these guys all know more basketball. They all know what they could do and the options and everything. They just make a different decision than we do. And I do think that's a fundamentally important thing to understand of, like, Doc, it's not like Doc is literally stupid and it's like, I don't know why you'd want to play more AJ Green. It's just like he makes a different decision. Although, even on that note, he got there by the end, right? I mean, you look at the game 5 minutes, and Brook played like two less minutes than Sims, and I think Kuzma only played 2 more than Sims. It took him too long. It took him too long, but he got there.
Yeah, he got there, but not when it mattered.
I mean, series was still going.
Not when it's 3-1, man.
Well, it would have been 3-2, and you would have gone back to Milwaukee for game 6, right?
Yes, but when you're down 3-1, making it, like, that's too late. It should, like you and I were saying, like, it should have been game 1. I'm
not retroactively saying he did a good job and whatever. All of it stands. He did a poor job in the series. I'm just saying he got there. He was definitely too late, but he got there. But to your point, I'm like, is it the same guy? He was there with the Bucks by the end of the series. He just wasn't there quickly enough.
Yeah. And the other thing about listening to Doc, he gets me to drink the Kool-Aid, man.
Yeah.
Every time.
You can see why he keeps getting hired. People go like, how could you hire this guy?
You really can't.
You listen to him talk to someone for 10 minutes. You're like, yeah, obviously this guy gets in a room with owners and GMs and NBA players, and everyone loves him.
Yeah, I want to have a convo with Doc. Doc, come on this pod.
Yeah,
let's do it.
I would love to have Doc on the pod.
He would do it.
He's a straight shooter. If we could get to him, I think he would do it. He's clearly not online, which is the best decision for him.
Yeah,
but he's persuasive.
Is our closest in through Giannis now because he's the most online?
Yeah, it's DM Giannis on TikTok. Well, DM Bucks Realm, who apparently talks to Giannis daily, this new Twitter account, and maybe they can get us in.
It's not a new Twitter account.
Okay. Well, we don't have to dive into that.
They bought an old one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to buy my account?
No. Not me, at least.
Well, didn't think...
I don't know. You just asked it. I'm like...
Should we switch accounts?
Yeah,
but not update the info. But not update the info. So you're just Ty from now on, and I'm just Rohan from now on.
That'd be really funny.
April Fools. Maybe April Fools. The Lopez brothers.
See how long it takes people to notice?
Yeah. We'll not make it obvious, but yeah, try to tweet like each other.
I could make it obvious.
Well, obviously. You post a selfie, and that would pretty much do it.
No. Obviously not that. But I'm saying through tweets, I think I can make it pretty obvious.
Yeah. Now we gave it away, though. If anyone wants to buy my account, DM me, because I would start another one. None of the stuff matters to me, but if there's, I would take some cash. I'll take some diaper money. What were we even talking? Oh, Doc. Here's the copium. 1, the emotional stuff with Dame was really good on there. I told Dame, you made me cry twice, damn it. So good. I listened to that. I immediately tweeted that and said, Doc Holmes syndrome is back on the menu, baby. That's sick. 2, if you give him the group that worked right away, I think he'll just play that group and the Bucks could be good.
Yeah. Just don't give him the opportunity to be bad.
Take away Brook Lopez is basically and we can. I guess this is a good transition to our segues. But Doc understands modern basketball. It's not like he doesn't understand it. It's just getting there right away from a coaching perspective. So John Horst got that big extension. His job this summer, obviously, 1 is to keep things going, retool around Giannis, which is what we're trying to do. But also, like, put Doc in a position where he's got to lean into that. And I'm not saying it's like an antagonist relationship. We saw how that worked for Denver, coaching and front office. But, let's push the roster in that direction. And I don't think Doc is going to, refuse to play more modern lineups.
Yeah.
I mean, it is true. They had a lot of assets tied up in non-modern players.
Correct. And I also think one of my biggest takeaways from the pod was just Doc and Bill just like hating ESPN.
Oh yeah.
It's
also, that part was
so
sick
funny.
too. In a vacuum, it's a very good thing for the Bucks coach to go on one of the biggest NBA podcasts, certainly one of the biggest.
I think it's the biggest.
It probably is. And straight up laugh at the idea of trading Giannis, being like, yeah, we're not doing that. Call out ESPN directly by name for not putting the Bucks on Christmas.
His former employer.
Yes. He doesn't care. He'll get hired again. He's Doc Rivers. He always gets hired again. Like, all of that stuff is good. The Bucks have never had a representative of the team go and be like, yeah, that's stupid. We're not trading him.
Yeah, it's great. It was honestly great. That was the highlight of it for me.
Yeah. And he didn't, people got so mad about they want to keep Doc because Giannis loves him or whatever. Doc did not go on there and be like, I'm the reason. It's me. We're hanging on by a thread, Bill, but I think I can keep him to stay. No, he's just like, yeah, we're keeping him. We're going to be good.
Yeah. And that's awesome. It's good to hear. Just another... I know we didn't want to do this, but that trade article was kind of BS.
The ESPN one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
here's how we could retool around Giannis. 5 of them are trading Giannis.
Well, it was so funny because like whoever does their and I won't say an intern because it's almost never an intern, but it may be AI.
It's not an intern. It's an actual professional.
Well, it wasn't a professional on that day because the tweet was, "Where's Giannis going to go? 8 Giannis trades," and the article is 3 to retool around Giannis and 5 to trade Giannis, and all of the trades were stupid, of course. Desmond Bane goes for 4 unprotected firsts, 2 solid players, and a swap, and they think Giannis is Tobias, Jaden Ivey, and 3 firsts.
I like Chris Herring, man.
That was terrible.
But that was rough.
Like, does Detroit not have 4 firsts? In what world are you not sending 4 firsts and 3 swaps? The maximum amount if you have all your picks. I'll tell you, no world.
Exactly. And I think that's more than enough that we should have talked about.
I just want people to remember. What was this? 4 months ago? Nico Harrison called John Horst and said, would you take Luka Doncic for Giannis Antetokounmpo straight up? And John Horst said, no, thank you. And you think Jaden Ivey, Tobias Harris, and where are those picks going to be, by the way? Cade Cunningham and Giannis in the terrible East, 3 firsts? Great. We get 3 more DJ Wilsons. Awesome. For Giannis. Great. And broken leg Jaden Ivey. Ridiculous.
Terrible.
It's all the stuff. The Warriors won. Warriors won. Oh my God. Reeves, Pods, and 2 firsts for Giannis to go to the Warriors in a stupid 4-team trade.
That'd be the I didn't see that one. I didn't read
that was on
honestly.
There too. They did the Raptors one again, of course, which they're like, maybe the Raptors only have to give 2 picks because you get Scotty Barnes. Oh yeah, of course, totally. Great. Terrible. Zoomer Josh Smith really moves me that much.
Josh Smith.
You look back at early Josh Smith counting stats, and it's like, how is this guy not a superstar? I mean, oh my God.
He was really good.
If he played 5 years later, I think he would have made an all-star team. Maybe he did, actually. I think he did.
Did he?
He might have with the Hawks.
Josh Smith.
I feel like he made 1 or 2.
Nope.
No? I think he would have made 1.
His accomplishments in the NBA are slam dunk champ.
Oh.
All defensive second team and all rookie second team.
And then does it have his stats on there?
Stats for what year?
Just like one of his early breakout years. Like I feel like he was putting up
his third year in the league.
18, 5, and 5?
Yeah, he did 18, 5, and 5 and 11, 12. His second to last one with the Hawks.
And what did he shoot from 3 that year?
If
it's on there.
25.7%.
Okay, I thought he had figured out the shot
Not a good 3-point shooter.
Okay. I thought he had a good shooting year in there too.
His career high is 33.
Okay, so never got there. So but still 18, 5, and 5, and he made an all defensive team and won a slam dunk contest. Like that's a good player. Anyway.
18, 9 or 19, 10, and 4 basically one year.
He's a good player. I must have just been on the outside. I mean, he was never the best guy on a team, of course, but alas.
Oh well. Good thing we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, no. No, he's not. Again, Luka straight up, no. Like all these packages are terrible.
Correct.
And there is no price. Again, Luka said no. There's no, Stephon Castle and a 2 overall pick. No, it's less than Luka. They would say no. It's only if they have to trade him.
Yeah. Guess you got to promise Ace Bailey, otherwise you're not drafting him.
Dude, we don't even have time to do Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey might be there at 47. This may be the shadur of this year. Let's put Ace Bailey on our boards at 47. Let's put Prize Picks on our boards. 1 overall for the best daily fantasy sports options. We talk about them all the time. We love them, and this is the best time today. Literally, if you're listening to this, grab your mobile device or your computing device, head on over to Prize Picks, or use the link in wherever you're consuming this podcast, and make an account today. Use code Eurostep upon sign up, please. It helps us out quite a bit, actually. That's why we've been able to continue working with Prize Picks. You play a $5 lineup, and you get $50 in credit, win or lose on that $5 lineup. Here's some of the popular picks, the popular projections for tonight's basketball game. Pascal Siakam, 21.5 points. Feel like I'm going more than, considering Tyrese Halliburton's murky status. I think Pascal's going to empty the clip in Indiana for what could be their last game of the year. Jalen Williams, who had 40 last game, looking at 23.5 points, or if you want to be, do you want to be a little more nuanced? Do you want 39.5 fantasy score? Do you want 34 points, rebounds, and assists? Those could be great options as well. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 33.5 points. Even when he's off, he's been a bucket. I think he looked pretty locked in yesterday and shoot around. TJ McConnell, you could go Goblin time, only 5.5 points. You could go Demon time, 14.5 points. I kind of like that Demon time. You might be starting, and again, you talk about a player who's going to empty the clip in front of that home crowd. TJ McConnell's a good one as well. Also, they have basically every player who could possibly play. Chet Holmgren, Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, Nembhard, Miles Turner. You can dig in on Prize Picks. Check it out. Make your picks like I just did. I'm going to go in, do my full slate. Again, could be our last time to do it this season. You can do women's basketball, though. I am looking for Sophie Cunningham, more than 0.5 forced fumbles now that she's playing strong safety for the Indiana Fever. So you could check that one out, or you could just go Caitlin Clark threes. That's a more standard one. I'm working with our team at Prize Picks for the other kind of Sophie Cunningham projections there, because she's playing a couple different sports right now.
Flagrant fouls.
Flagrant fouls, that would be a good one. I could see them throwing that in there, have a little fun with it, and baseball's going on as well. You want to go strikeouts, hitter score, total bases. Those are all options as well. Mizorowski, I think today, maybe some strikeouts, maybe some, whatever else you want to go for the Miz. Maybe less than on walks, because he's been pretty dialed in. Today. It's Freddie today? I thought they moved it because the game got rained out. Did Big Tim lead me astray? I'm going to have to have some words with Big Tim.
The Brewers just tweeted 18 minutes ago, Freddie in the finale.
All right, well, Big Tim really let me down there, so you can go for Freddie strikeouts or less than on walks. Thanks, Dad. He does listen, so he'll. I don't even have to tell him. He'll hear this. Download the Prize Picks app today. Big Tim, go get it today, because you let me down on the read here with this info you sent me on text. Prize Picks, the best place to play daily fantasy, whatever sport, whatever league, whatever time of year. Check it out. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, let's do the offseason scenario. So to set a baseline, here we're going to walk through different options, using trades, using the draft, and using free agency. But I think it's important to first establish a baseline and figure out what are the Bucks' numbers, because for anyone who's confused about it, they have financial flexibility this summer for the first time in a couple of years. That does not mean cap space. So Giannis, Dame, Kuzma, AJ Green, Andre Jackson Jr., Tyler Smith, and Pat Connaughton, I'm viewing those 7 as kind of the Bucks baseline. And even if you want to trade, like if you want to trade Kuzma for DeRozan, like we've talked about, or if you could somehow do Kuzma and a first and a swap for Mikal Bridges if he got traded, the salary slot's still relatively the same. So that's $146.8 million between those 7. That is almost at the salary cap of $154 million, and between like cap holds on open roster spots and other things, there's no the draft picks. There's no real cap space. So technically they could be under it in one scenario, but not really, not in a way that matters. And even if they could, that's only an less than $8 million difference. Using the MLE is $14.4 million. So that's just a clearly better option anyway. So the MLE, if you use it, I think the Bucks will, we'll get into on what, that hard caps you at the first apron. That's $195.9 million. So you could look at those 7 players who could Pat opt out. Yes, we all know he's not going to. And technically they could waive, I think, Green and Ajax. Although, again, like, I wouldn't. You could also trade them into space, whatever. I assume they're going to be here. That means the Bucks have about $49 million to play with. Almost $50 million between those 7 players, that baseline, and the first apron, which is a little higher than the tax, which is $187 million, which we can get into later, but that's not a key distinction for me. The first apron is the number to know. That is almost certainly going to be the Bucks' ceiling on what they could possibly spend. The mid-level caps you at that. The biannual also does. So if the Bucks want to spend any real money, they're probably going to have that as their ceiling. If they were to cross above that, they would, I guess, well, let's go into run it back. So that's our first scenario. This is neither of our ideal scenarios, but let's say the Bucks just said, you know what, we love this group for some reason.
Can I ask a question about run it back first?
Yeah.
I think this might be the first decision.
Yeah, okay.
Chris Livingston?
Yeah, I didn't include him. Partially or
that's
not.
That's what I'm saying. Is he the first decision? It's non-guaranteed.
Fully non-guaranteed. Yeah, you start to run out of spots and money with Livingston pretty fast, really. When you consider 47 overall, and or if you do want to add Thanasis back into the mix, I would like to keep him and see what he's got at Summer League and workouts, but I didn't include him in either of my scenarios just because we have not seen anything so far, and you do only have so many roster spots. And, again, like maybe you trade Pat into something, whatever, but basically 2 that you don't factor to be big parts of your rotation right away in Pat and Dame. It's just hard to have a third one when you could open it up for free.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
We've been big fans, but
I know. I still think there's something there. There's just he's had 0 opportunity through no fault of his own. I mean, a little.
Well,
fault of his own.
Yeah.
If he were better, it would help a lot. There's also I don't even know how much of a factor this is anymore, but like the clutch factor. I don't know if that's not really that much of a thing anymore.
I don't know how much time Clutch HQ is spending on Chris Livingston maneuvering.
They spent a lot pre-draft.
Well, I know, but
and during the draft,
a lot has changed since then, though. And they got the check already, right?
That's true.
So, not to say an agent would be financially motivated by any means, but allegedly. But yeah, I'm not assuming him as part of this. Again, if there's if you want to, if there's a move where you could trade Ajax to trade up in the draft or something, because I do believe I wouldn't want to have Ajax and Kuzma. I didn't really address this in my scenario because it gets a little harder to track, but I just think both of them is probably too much non-shooting wing. Although
who would you rather have?
I'd rather have Ajax if you could turn Kuzma into a better player.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
But it's harder to do.
Yeah. Because it's I think about this Bucks team and I'm I'd rather have Ajax.
Yeah. Because Ajax has shot a good percentage. I think there is more to give for Kuzma.
And he can play with Giannis.
It makes more sense trying to rehab Kuzma's value, but there is obviously a downside.
Yeah.
Because maybe it doesn't work, and then you just still have a tough fit Kyle Kuzma. I don't think he's untradeable like some people say because he had a bad playoffs, though. I don't think he has value.
No, he's not untradeable.
He's not untradeable.
No.
So okay.
It's next year he's an expiring.
Yeah, on a non-backbreaking deal. So the run it back, good call by you. Did not factor Chris Livingston in this. So you start with that baseline. You have full bird on Bobby and on Brook and on Sims, which we'll get to. That's obviously not going to be as much of a factor. So even if those guys sign back for only $15 million apiece, and I say only, maybe that sounds like a lot to some people, that's barely more than Bobby's player option. It's less than Brook made last year. That's another $30 million. So that takes you from 146 to 176. And it gets kind of hard to bring back everyone else on the roster, frankly. Even if Trent takes 10, which 8 to 10 has been the report, we'll see how that goes. Then you're obviously now that's 40, so you're up to 186. And again, the first apron is 195. And that's only 10 players. So I slotting in Rollins, Sims, and a rookie at $2 million-ish a piece, which is I'm not using exact numbers because it gets complicated, and any little variable would then throw them all off, but around minimums, basically. And then KPJ for 5, which is just, he opted out of minimum, so maybe he makes more. That would be about 197.8, which is over the first apron, so it doesn't work. So either you're like waving and stretching Pat or trading Pat or something, or one of these players maybe takes less. I don't know. Does Brook take 10? Then it works. It's actually not as simple as I thought it would be, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, running it back usually sounds like the easy thing, but I actually think the scenarios where you keep a couple players but are ready to move on from specifically Lopez makes it a lot easier to build out a full roster.
Yeah, and I think it's not a good thing, right, to say like, oh, you're not able to run it back. But I think for the Bucks, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Because you and I have been talking all throughout this offseason, which has felt like an eternity at this point.
Yeah.
But
it's been 2 months.
It's still June.
Yeah. But thankfully, though, you know what? It's going to speed up fast because we get draft next week. And then it's like things are really happening.
Then it's free agency, summer league, Eurobasket.
Yeah. It's going to slow down again, but at least the pre-moves part is what sucks because it's all just stupid speculation, fake reports.
And then we get to do our Symphony pod in August.
Yeah, that'll be great.
But I think for the Bucks, it's kind of a good thing that this is a little bit of a complicated situation at all, because I've never seen a team more in need of a shakeup in terms of their general identity than the Bucks.
I see teams like the Warriors being like, I think Brook Lopez would be a good fit, and I'm like, please give him an amount the Bucks don't. Like, they could match anything, of course. They have full bird, but like, give him money that the Bucks like, oh, we'd be too close to the first apron. Sorry, we've got to let you go, Brook. You know what I mean? The LeBron.
Sorry, we'll sign and trade for Kuminga. It's fine.
That's not going to work.
No.
It's like the LeBron tweet when Delhi got the Bucks deal. Like, could match, but like, oh, good luck. Thank you.
Best of luck in Milwaukee, Delhi.
Best of luck in Golden State, Brook. You got it. Yep. You are better than Quentin Post. You got it, buddy.
Yeah. Is he?
Yes. I'm not weighing in on 24-25 Brook Lopez until after free agency.
Yeah, that's fair. He is better than Quentin Post.
He's way better than Quentin Post, and the Warriors should give up multiple picks to bring him in. Multiple picks.
Mike Dunleavy, if you're listening, definitely.
Guy who knows Milwaukee well and surely would not make any poor decisions.
Mike Dunleavy Jr., just to be clear. I don't think Mike Dunleavy Sr. has anything to do with the Warriors.
Yeah.
Maybe he does listen. He was a Buck.
I'm going to guess he probably doesn't tune into much Buck stuff these days, so maybe we could be
They were both Bucks. That's crazy, right?
Yeah. And now we hate him.
Yeah. Well, do we hate Senior?
Yeah, I do buy it. You raised that guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know? You raised a guy who punched MCW in the face. Knocked out a tooth.
That's
so, yeah, that's his fault.
Yeah. Also, this is a I forgot to mention this. One of the coolest things Giannis said during the TikTok is like, "Oh, my good friend." They asked him like Real Madrid or Barcelona. At first, he thought they meant basketball, which is really cute. And then he was like, "I gotta go Barcelona. My close friend Jabari Parker plays for them."
Oh,
yeah,
that is nice.
So,
Jabari coming back?
No.
We don't need a 6'8" who doesn't shoot anymore.
I'm gonna say no on that one.
Okay. Maybe as a
But Brook Lopez is the easiest one to kind of take out of the equation for that baseline, right?
Yeah.
Like that $15 million a year that you allocated.
Which could be more, could be less. That was just a made-up number.
Is there a number where you'd be comfortable bringing back Brook Lopez?
No, it's got to go because I think any number, Doc's going to play him.
Yeah. Even if it's a minimum.
Which I don't think he would. I think he's saying no at that point, most likely, but Orlando's got to be his dream, right?
Oh, it has to be, yeah.
I mean, he'd probably be able to live at Disney. I don't know Orlando's geography, but
no, you'd be able to live in Disney.
So, sign and trade for Wendell Carter. Let's make it happen. You're all in Orlando. You're all in Orlando.
No, 4 first-round picks. Desmond Bane.
I think he's a nice player, but woof.
It's a lot.
Oh, is Memphis blowing it up? No. If you just get an offer like that, you just say yes.
Imagine getting an offer for 4 first-round picks for Andre Jackson Jr. Not comparing the players at
No,
all.
I was trying to think of the best comp.
2 first-round picks for AJ Green.
What about 4 for Chris, like before he took the All-Star nod? Like
or
20
or like last year.
Yeah. Or like 2015-16 was he like I think that was when he was like good but not All-Star.
Yeah.
But like good 3-and-D guy, good numbers, and it's just like, hey, we like the guy a lot. And I guess that one maybe it wouldn't have worked out for the Bucks. We'll see if Bane makes that same leap. Or maybe like peak Brogdon.
Mm.
They basically got nothing for him, but before the Raptors year, like after 2018, if someone was like maybe a little less, but like 3 firsts for, I think you just have to be like, yeah, I guess. Jesus.
The Raptors year?
Before they played the Raptors.
Oh, okay.
So I think he left right after that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had no years left.
But Raptors the second time, sorry, yeah.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Before the conference finals year.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was like, that Raptors, I was like, pretty sure that was his rookie year. Then I forgot they played him twice.
Yeah. So yeah, run it back, not as easy as it sounds, and hopefully not what they do, and it doesn't, hard to execute. And you don't get to use all your spending power, really, 'cause I only allocated $15 million for Trent and KPJ between MLE and biannual, and it was still over what they could actually do. But that's not using the full MLE. That's like about $4 million short. And I do think, it's hard to say for sure because no one would have predicted Gary Trent Jr. on a minimum last year, right? So we have no idea who will be available for what. This is where having a thinner team has some benefit, though. Because let's say Trent takes 8 or 10 million and the Bucks have 4 or 6 million left of that mid-level, so comfortably more than a minimum. And you could be going to a player and being like, hey, do you want to start on a Giannis team for this much? That probably gets you in more conversations than you think, which we'll get into.
Is that good? Like in that scenario, it would be good for attracting free agents, yes.
Well, yeah, it's only good for that.
But for the Bucks in general, would that be good?
No,
because I think we're seeing the power of depth, in these finals.
Yeah, no, you'd rather have more players. I'm just silver lininging it. Lininging it.
Yeah.
You got to make the best of the situation. You don't have depth, but you could go to a point guard, let's say, and go, hey, we only got $4 million or $5 million biannual, but you could start on a Giannis team, and that's how you get your depth back.
Yeah, and that was the Gary pitch.
And the nice thing is, now that they're out of second apron land, they'll pretty much always have an MLE, so if things go well, they can go to that player, like they're hopefully going to with Gary, and say, all right, we got money, like let's get you on a bigger deal and keep you around. Whereas when they were in second apron land, they were kind of cooked in that sense. Malik Beasley is a good example. He only got $6 million from Detroit, but it was like way more than the Bucks could have given him.
Yeah, it was like the Bucks could have only offered him like 4.
I think not even. So it was non-bird. It was only 1 year, so a very modest.
Can't you do like 150
of minimum? So yeah, it's probably only like
3.5, 4, something like that.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, but so again, it's like no one's gonna look at the Chris Kuz deal and be like, great deal. But the action of getting under the second apron was a big deal for the Bucks. We've gone over. There were better ways to do it, but now that they're here, they have options. Exactly.
Send Pat to Charlotte, where he belongs. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why he belongs in Charlotte.
I mean, let's not get into this.
I thought of the first season of Pat on the Bucks and the break glass in case of emergency, switch everything lineup, and that was against Charlotte.
I saw Nathan Marzian posted the Game 7 highlights from the Nets series in 21, and it's
because it was 4 years ago today.
4 years ago today, and it's still so surreal to just see the players on the court for the whole game, basically, for the Bucks. Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez, PJ Tucker, Pat Connaughton. Just like
only guy off the bench who played.
Somebody shared to me the only guy off the bench for either team who scored in that game.
Wow.
Just a monstrous performance. That's
monstrous performance from Joe Harris too.
Dude, Bucks legend. Talk about a guy whose number should be retired. Let's hear what's your Bucks scenario, and I'll do mine last because I've been talking a lot to set this thing up.
So I'd say my Buck scenario is kind of what we've been getting at, I think, a little bit recently. And it's like it's running it back, but only with certain guys, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's just realistically just sans Brook.
Yeah.
You can't have Brook
sad
there.
for Brook, but yeah.
And again, we've talked about this, but having Brook Lopez on your team kind of shapes how you play.
Yeah.
And if you don't have Brook Lopez, you can play different ways. But if you do have Brook Lopez, you can only play a certain way.
Yeah.
So just being able to unlock that. And I've been thinking a lot about post-suspension Bobby Portis and how perfect he was and just how well he played and how well he fit next to Giannis to the point where I'm like, yeah, I think Bobby should be the starting five for the Bucks next year.
Couldn't agree
You asked
more.
me that 6 months ago, and I would have thought you're crazy. You tell me I'm going to be saying that.
4 months ago was the trade deadline. Imagine saying it then. Mid-tramadol suspension.
Yeah, I would have been like, did I go off? Am I okay?
Yeah. Like, what did I take?
But I think it's probably the most realistic scenario for the Bucks to really improve.
100%. Well, I think it's important to keep in mind, and it's funny because on the one hand, we're like, you got to move on from Brook. The bird rights players are very important because the Bucks have financial flexibility, but they have like 2 spending power. And I'm writing a Substack for us on this. That'll be free for everyone. Everything on there is now. I'm writing that goes through like what the tools they can use, right? So every team always has vet mins, but you can get good players, but it's limited and it's only like 1 year. They have the MLE, which the important thing on that and on splitting it that matters can be up to a 4-year deal. So that's a unique thing. The mini MLE, the little taxpayer one, can only be 2 years. I think the biannual is the same. So like I don't know what Trent's preference would be, but he could start at 10 mil and get 5% raises on a 4-year deal, or maybe he wants to do less and try to up it again when the Bucks have full bird, whatever. But it gives you options. It just gives you more options. And it's a bigger thing, and you can break it up if you want to, or you can give it all to one player. But that you can only use it on so many spots, right? Like I don't think you're going to use the MLE to sign 5 guys to $3 million, because that's basically minimum. Realistically, probably 2 players at most. Especially now, this is cap minutia. You used to want to keep a little part of it, a vet min part of it, to use on a second round pick to give them a 4-year deal, because you couldn't before. But now with the new exception that they introduced in the new CBA, you can just give any second round pick a 4-year deal, so it doesn't matter anymore. That's an aside. Probably 2 players, probably 2 free agents. One of them, and let's do this too, because I think we're all assuming it in all of our scenarios, one of them Trent.
Yes,
right? I think you have to use part
one
of
them
Trent.
has to be Trent.
Way too
Trent,
important.
I don't think the Bucks can succeed this offseason without retaining Gary Trent. I genuinely don't.
I'll spoil it, unfortunately for you. If they replace him with your guy Naw, I think maybe.
Here's the thing. Here's my Buck scenario.
I know you want both. Yeah, you want both.
I want both.
I would love both. I want to pause on that for 1 second. The bird rights piece. So the MLE, like absolute best case scenario, you could get Trent and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, we should say, is Naw. That's the abbreviation. Shay's cousin.
Boss man all over.
Yeah, boss man all over. People like, Naw. Who is Naw? I think that's absolute pie in the sky, right? Not to rain on your parade by any means, but or maybe the biannual you get one. But then if you let your bigs walk, your bird rights bigs, Bobby and Brook, if you say I don't want either of those, maybe you keep Sims, who's can work with Giannis in defensive lineups, but is not a perfect fit. I wouldn't want to start him with Giannis. You look at the free agent center class, it's like, all right, are we giving Thomas Bryant vet min? Like that's our starting center? Like you just, for asset wise, you just need to either get something for those guys or keep them because it doesn't affect what you can spend on the other guys, right? So you can get the MLE guys and the biannual guys and Bobby Portis. You can't flip Bobby, or you can sign and trade him. But I'm saying you never want to just let those guys walk if you can avoid it. You want to try and use something with that. Otherwise, you lose the spot, at least with one of them. I think you can retain one of them for 15-ish million, as I'll go through in my scenario, and basically butt right up to that first apron when using all of your other spending tools. It's where, again, if you kept both of them, then you can't really you can't really use everything else in your power unless you open up space somewhere else. But yeah, I agree with you. Bob's the move.
Can we dump Pat's scenario? That's where you get into that.
But again, you don't have a lot of stuff to attach to him. I wouldn't want to stretch him. They could. whatever.
No, you shouldn't stretch him. Do not stretch him.
Never stretch.
John, we know you're listening. Please don't.
I mean,
or Milt.
$3 million a year for the next 3 years isn't terrible, but I'd rather just eat the...
You never want to have dead money.
Yeah, you just want to eat it now. But I agree with you totally on Bob. I just think he and Giannis are really good complements to each other. Because
plus you don't have to reinvent anything.
No,
really.
We've seen it work.
Exactly. You need to have some level of familiarity with Giannis. You need to be able to do that. Yeah, Bobby has that experience. He has that knowledge. He's been here for what? This is going to be year 5 if he's here.
Yeah,
I
think he is
crazy.
I've seen people interpret his comments about like I want to take care of me. Like I've given a lot of discounts to the Bucks as he wants to go. I don't think he wants to go. I think he's being incredibly transparent.
No, I think every single team-friendly deal he's taken has built to this offseason.
Yeah. And
it's literally built to this offseason where they have his full bird rights.
Yeah. What's the most you would give him?
I was about to ask you that question.
Versus letting him walk, I'd give him
20.
Yeah, it was 25 for 100.
Yeah.
How old is Bob? He turns 30. So that's not going to age well. 480, I would...
He is 30 already.
He just turned 30, I think.
He's 30.3 years old, apparently.
So he turned it in a little bit ago. When's Bob's birthday? This might be close to my birthday. I'll call Bobby Portis and happy... Oh, no, I didn't know we shared the same... No, it doesn't work that way. It's an office bit. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I think 5 is a little tough then unless it's like declining. I've seen that scenario like...
At 10, so he's a little after.
A little after. Start at 20 and it declines because then like the cap is going to be some insane number 5 years from now. So you end up kind of in the Pat situation, which everyone complains about. It's not really the end of the world. You could use the salary if you need to. Like it is what it is. I'd rather have it be that way than the other way. Like it goes up and it's more in the future year as long as you can fit everything else in. I think if you could do 4 for 60, it's going to be an absolute steal.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the lowest realistic. That's basically like a full MLE deal. So somewhere between those two would be ideal. I would rather keep it to 4 for sure. But the other
I think he's going to want more than 15 a year.
I think so too. I think it's fair that he wants more than that. What's Naz Reid going to get? I think Naz Reid is better, but not by a lot.
Yeah, he's a Bob variant.
Look what Brook got on his last deal.
Yeah, I think I would you go 360?
I'd rather actually spread it out because let's speak to truth here. 5 years from now, and Giannis is 35. Does any of it matter?
Yes, because Giannis is still going to be playing incredible basketball time.
He's going to be playing well. I want to maximize these next 4-ish years as much as possible.
Mm.
So I would do it. I mean, if I had to do it, I would do 3 for 60. Yeah. I would do it. I mean,
I don't see why Bob's game would age that. Or I guess it's the mobility that might get to him.
Yeah, but they're not even really...
Like, one of his biggest assets is just his speed and his size.
It is, but it's I think...
Then you get into a Brook scenario.
Yeah, but you're not asking him to do as much defensively. That's the key difference. I think the Bobby Giannis thing works because Giannis is your rim protector, even if he's not your center. You have a weak side rim protector and defensive disruptor, and Bob's just kind of there guarding 4s and gobbling up rebounds.
Yeah.
It's unconventional, but it works. I agree with you. I think you have to keep him. Because, again, I've shared the stats before. They were really good in the regular season when they played together, and they won the Indiana minutes pretty significantly when they played together. In a series, the Bucks got annihilated in most of Giannis's minutes.
Yep.
So
in a series, they lost in 5.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Big Bob is crucial. I think he knows it, right? He's got leverage. He knows how important he is. He knows that he's taking discounts. They'll make him. I think they'll make him whole. I don't think he's really that concerned about it, but we'll see how it goes. I'd be a disaster if they went the other way. If they kept Brook and let Bob walk, I'd feel very bad. I'd feel sick.
Oh, I would feel terrible. I think that's why would you even say that? That is terrible. That is worst case scenario.
That's worst case scenario.
It really is. After that, I'm like, I have to think about this.
Yeah. Well, what's the rest of your scenario? I cut you off.
So the rest of my scenario is you keep Bob.
Yep.
You sign Sims to like kind of like 2 for 10, 15, something like that.
I think it's going to be less, but I have him at $3 million starting in year 1, but whatever.
But something small, right?
Yeah.
Something relatively small. And KPJ walks.
Yep.
You re-sign Ryan Rollins. You try and get Naw. I don't know if that's possible.
No, it's your ideal scenario. But if not, you got Naw.
You get Naw. Naw, and then second is maybe Brogdon.
Oh wow, yeah, I'm good on that.
I think you can do worse for a guy who can handle the ball in Dame Zadson.
You could sign me, but
come on.
I'm good on the 40 games a year for the guy who shot 23% from 3. I wanted to before I dug into his numbers last year. I wonder.
It would have to be for a minimum.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's not going to harm the Bucks if they sign him to a minimum. I had the same thought as you, and I dug into his stuff from the last season. And I was like,
no, it's not good. But if there's any team that knows what it's like, it's the Bucks. Actually, no, not anymore.
Yeah,
they got the best version of him.
Yeah.
And then I've been really interested in Jake LaRavia.
Yeah, so
you and I were talking pre-pod about some scenarios.
Yeah, so
it would probably make sense to. Oh, go ahead, explain.
Sorry, real quick. So it's going to be really hard for the Kings to keep him. The Grizzlies declined his 4th-year team option before they traded him there, like before last season. So because of the cap rules to avoid cap circumvention, if you do that, the team with his bird rights, the Kings, can't give him more than that 4th-year option would have been, which is like $5 million. So any team with a biannual or cap space or a mini MLE or a full MLE can realistically outbid Sacramento. So he should be moving somewhere, I would imagine.
Yeah, and he's kind of like a 6'8", kind of stretch, sort of power forward type guy.
Yeah.
I could see him playing really well next to Giannis.
Yeah.
Kind of like your ideal maybe TP replacement.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't factor TP either. I don't have him in mind either. I wouldn't be surprised if he was back.
No, he's going wherever Darvin's going. We talked about this last week.
I don't know where Darvin's going. Is Darvin going to go coach the Knicks?
Can you imagine?
Be very funny. I don't think the answer is yes, but it'd be very funny.
I mean, we are getting some coaching news. Like Nicholas Kerr is up with the Warriors.
Mike Brown is interviewed for the Knicks job, I believe. I think Taylor Jenkins did too.
And yeah, they're both of them were this week. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Knicks got denied by every team except they didn't. The Bucks were like one of the only teams they didn't ask.
I mean, they knew that Doc engenders such close bonds that there was no way they were going to let him interview.
Yeah, they were like, if we interview, we're going to hire him on the spot.
For sure. Imagine the connections Doc could make in the New York market.
Oh, man. He probably already hangs out with Spreewell all the time out at Joe Cats. So.
Yeah, true. I like that. Okay. I like the LaRavia piece.
And that's kind of like that's kind of like my ideal scenario. You kind of get more guys who fit around Giannis, and then your roster is like Dame, Giannis, Kuz, Bobby, AJ, Ajax, and then you got Gary Trent in there, Naw in there, and you got LaRavia in there. You can build a solid rotation where you maybe who would you start in that scenario? You'd probably go Naw, Trent,
wings,
Giannis. Yeah,
probably Green, Giannis, Bob.
Yeah, Green, Giannis, Bob. You have Kuz as your bench guy again.
Stagger him with Giannis, basically.
And then here's the thing: when you get that, you have LaRavia next to Kuz.
Yeah, you got
so it's like you have that shooting. You have that shooting in your front court to let Kuz operate, which he kind of never had. And this is kind of a scenario. It's a scenario where you keep Kuz, obviously, in my like ideal pie in the sky type scenario. You're not doing that. You're trading him for someone else.
Yeah.
But I tried to keep it as realistic as possible.
I didn't do many trades like that either. Mine has one trade. It's I think more. It's just hard to figure out what they do. They might trade him. They might not. We'll see. I like
then
that.
you can do Kuz Sims as sort of like instead of like KPJ Sims actions, you can just do Kuz Sims. Let Kuz be more of a ball handler off the bench.
I mean, I'm going to be in the same spot because I kept both of them as well. I don't like that idea when you say it out loud.
Yeah, when I said it out loud, I was like, oh, this kind of falls apart.
I'm very uncomfortable with that idea. I think we both need a third big too, or a fourth big, because I didn't have one either, but that's probably not great. So
Pete Nance gave Larry Nance the deal, and you're signing him to a minimum.
There you go. Okay. Do you have the pick on there as well? Doesn't really matter,
Yeah.
Probably not factoring a big deal. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not trading any picks or anything. No trading in or into the first round or anything like that.
Okay. So I did that. Do you want me to do
no massive risks for me this offseason?
Yeah.
I think that's and apparently the Bucks are reported to be very, very aggressive, according to Brian Windhorst, and
yeah,
in trying to build around Giannis.
Sky's blue.
Yep, exactly. It's another offseason where you have Giannis on the roster. They're going to be aggressive every year, especially with John Horst at the helm.
Thank God.
I know, honestly. But I don't know. I just didn't take any super, super big. I guess kind of like the biggest risk is change, and that's letting Brook Lopez go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a way different front court look than they've ever had. That's for sure.
It's a completely different team outlook. It's crazy how much one player really changes that.
Yeah. Well, if you go back to last year, I think Chris was the other part too that just freed them up to be a little faster.
Oh yeah, you re-signed Chris.
Chris opts out and
Chris opts out and then signs. Yeah.
Oh, Smart as a buyout's a little interesting, actually.
I thought about that, and I'm like, it's kind of like the same reaction you had to Brogdon.
Yeah, I mean, the injury part, I think, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Why are we talking about all Wizards?
Because those players are available.
That's true.
Wait,
Ty.
You could cook up what?
Ty, do you hear that?
What?
Ty, do you hear the music? It's time for Bucks Bounty again.
Oh my God.
It's time for Bucks Bounty.
All right.
So this is the segment of the show where people can win prizes based on Ty and his answers to these questions. Whether he gets them right or wrong, you can still win prizes. It's okay. It's my game.
I know.
So here's the first question. I'm sticking with the theme of Bucks like all-time leaders.
Okay.
Who is the Bucks all-time leader in individual offensive rating, which I hate as a stat.
Oh my God. Oh, is it? I'm fairly confident it's one of the shooters. I'll go with your one-time son, Grayson Allen, but I fear it may be Bryn Forbes.
It is Grayson Allen.
Let's go. Is Forbes on the list? Do you have the list up?
Bryn Forbes is not top 10.
Okay.
2 is George Hill, then Dame, AJ Green, then it's the Squid, Sidney Moncrief.
Oh, nice.
Hats.
Wow.
Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez, Ricky Pierce, and then Giannis.
Classic. What a weird stat. There we go.
Okay, there you go. That's the first one you got right, I think.
Finally.
Okay. Now, for the next question. Giannis leads the Bucks in turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
What is his lead on second place? To the nearest 100.
Ooh.
I'll give you a hint. I say to the nearest 100, it is an exact 100 value.
Okay. I don't know if that's a hint, but
it's not a hint.
That's not a hint. That's
more justifying my rounding.
Minutia. Yeah, that's good. So first I'm going to think about who would be second. That's actually a really hard one to figure out.
I'll give you a hint about that. It's not Chris.
No, I didn't. It's got to be someone who's.
It's not Chris or Kareem.
Here for a while who turned the ball over enough. So it might be one of the 80s guys. It could be someone totally random like Brandon Jennings. Probably wasn't here long enough.
Brandon Jennings is not in the top 10.
Wow. Good for Brandon Jennings. Who would have turned the ball over that much? I mean, I don't need to know.
I'll give you a hint. This century.
Oh, 2000s. I was like, in the last 100 years, that's the whole
No,
thing.
not in the last 100. Like literally this
2000s. Okay. I don't know. Oh, is it Michael Redd?
I should have said this.
Is it Michael Redd? Is it Michael Redd?
It is not. He is not in the top 10.
Wow. Not that I thought he turned the ball over a lot. I'm just thinking about who would be on the team long enough.
They weren't on the team for an insane amount of time, but they were a number 1 overall pick.
Bogut?
No.
Oh, for a different team?
No, for the Bucks.
Who am I forgetting? They picked at 1 overall in the 2000s.
Well, it wasn't in the 2000s, but he played in the 2000s.
Oh, Big Dog. That makes
sense.
Big dog. Okay, had the ball out. Okay, duh. All right, how many hundreds? Wow, big dog. Played for a pretty long time. I'm going to say 300.
800.
What?
Giannis has 2,586 turnovers. Second place is Big Dog with 1,786.
Wow. I thought 500 was going to be way too much. That's the craziest stat I've ever heard, actually. I think if you asked 100 diehard Bucks fans, maybe 10, probably less, probably 5% get that right, if that.
It's a lot.
That's crazy.
It's a lot.
I guess you think about it, they've not had a lot of ball handlers stick with the team for a long time.
Yeah. Here's my final question. So, the all-time triple-double list for the Bucks. It's not very extensive.
No.
It's not very extensive. Only one player has more than 10. Can you guess who it is? That's not the question. But
regular season and playoffs?
Just, I don't know.
Okay.
Only one player in franchise history has more than 10 triple-doubles. Can you tell me?
I think it's Giannis.
Yes, Giannis is 56.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, they have another historical player who's very famous for triple-doubles, but I didn't think he got enough.
No, Oscar only got 5.
Wow, would have thought it was higher than that, but he was on the tail.
And that relates to the question. Oscar is tied for 4th on the Bucks all-time triple-double list. How many players are tied for 4th?
You said he had how many? 5?
5.
How many players?
So how many Bucks players have had exactly 5 triple-doubles in their Bucks tenure?
I'll stick with 5.
It's 3.
Oh.
Sidney Moncrief, Alvin Robertson, and Oscar Robertson.
Not the guys I would have guessed.
Marcus Johnson is firmly in 7th with 4.
Okay.
And then 8th is tied with 5 players. Wow. Bledsoe, Cassell, Gooden, Dame, and Chris. Hopefully Dame can surpass that.
Surprised Chris didn't have more. I guess
Chris had 2.
Rare for him to get to the 10 assists.
Yeah.
So
and then Dame's had 2 in 2 years, which is crazy.
Who's number 2?
Kareem with 8. Oh. And then Paul Pressey has 6.
Oh, yeah. The other point forward. Okay. Makes sense.
Okay. So 1 out of 3 for this edition of Bucks Bounty. Now it's time to see if anyone won any prizes.
Okay.
They didn't.
All right. Well, the game goes on. Hopefully I can do better for our great listeners in the future.
And that was Bucks Bounty.
It's a good batting average. That was Bucks Bounty. Thanks, Rohan.
Yep. I still don't know what I'm doing.
That's okay. If you don't know, I really don't know. We're going a little long, but I'll do my ideal offseason. It won't take long because it's pretty similar to yours. I agree on Portis. I agree on Lopez. I agree on keeping Rollins. I agree on keeping Sims. I agree on the MLE. My riskiest thing was I caved and did a draft pick trade to keep it simple. I didn't bring any players back, but I traded a lightly protected 2031 first for, I just called it...
What's lightly protected?
Top 5.
Top 5? Okay.
For 15 overall, which I picked that kind of random, that maybe OKC, so a very realistic team to trade that pick. If it's not OKC, just pretend it is. That player will make $4.6 million in year 1, so I did include that in my calculations as well. Since it's my ideal offseason, we're saying one of Carter Bryant or Cedric Coward was available, and the Bucks traded in to the first to get that pick. They also used 46 overall. I'm less interested with who that was. Oh, I'll say Sion
47?
James. Sorry, yeah, 47. I wrote it down wrong. Which is going to be a vet minimum. So they add 2 wing rookies in Carter Bryant and Sion James to compete for 2-3 minutes, which again, we talked about, they have no real threes on the roster. The point guard room, I'm keeping Rollins. I'm also letting KPJ walk because you know what? Fuck it. It's our ideal offseason. I don't want him on the team anymore.
Oh, #sorry time.
#sorry time. I allocated 10 mil of the MLE to Trent. I've heard 8 to 10. I'm not playing games. I need Gary Trent on the team. I'm giving him the lion's share. Mm-hmm. I'm using the rest.
Next year, then he would get partial bird, right?
Early bird.
Early bird, sorry, that's the term I'm looking
for. So yeah, either it could be however many years he wants to do realistically. I'll resign him again the year after. I'd give him 4 years if he wants to just escalate up and lock in $60 million. I don't know what he wants to do.
So would you do, is it a 1 year, $10 million deal for Trent?
Whatever he wants.
Okay.
I mean, I think the short, it would realistically be 1-and-1 player option. He could opt out and we could do it again next year if he wants. But if he says, hey, you know what? It's a chaotic marketplace. I'll take the 4 for 50 or whatever that could be. I'd obviously give him that too. I don't think he would.
Yeah.
If he wants a 2+1, 3+1, I'll do it. But I use the rest of the MLE, $4 million-ish. 1 year, maybe a 1-and-1 player option. I'm bringing in D'Lo.
Okay, there you go. We've talked about D'Lo.
My big splash.
He's kind of
divisive.
Divisive, I'd say. I think I'm pro D'Lo for this year because it's such a weird year. You need a mercenary point guard.
Yeah.
And you don't want to completely change your entire team, assuming part of the plan is having Dame come back maybe for the postseason.
Yeah.
Which is really, really ideal scenario, but who knows if that's what the Bucks are planning on? Who knows?
Oh, the Rockets responded to the poaching by giving Ime a huge extension.
Oh, wow.
One of the highest paid coaches in the league, which means not the highest. Anyway, not really that relevant. I that's my thought on D'Lo. That's why I'm maybe it's a 1 year deal for him to recoup some value because not a great year for him between LA and Brooklyn. His shooting dipped quite a bit, although when you look back historically, the 2 years before that, he was at 41% with the Lakers in a full year, and then 39% between the Wolves and the Lakers the year before that. Didn't shoot well to start the year with the Lakers, but had split between starter and bench. I don't think his role was changing quite a bit. Was only at 12 and 5 last year, but the 2 years before was more like 18 and 6 assists. That's just a lot of production. I think there's shooting upside there. I think on a Giannis team, I would expect the shooting to be a little better. It obviously hasn't always worked that way, but we'll see. But I think it's actually realistic that he could be obtainable for a non-minimum but not a huge deal this summer.
Yeah, 1 year prove it. Just prove it.
1 year prove it.
If there's any scenario, if there's any team, where if you're a point guard who wants to recoup their value, it's the Bucks. It truly is the Bucks. You have 1 year and then you'll be able to completely reset your value. You get to walk in and say, hey, I can be an important point guard on a team that wants to win. And who, no, I don't, maybe this is a bad thing for them, but doesn't necessarily need to keep me long term.
But again, also the same summer where we'd be retaining Portis and retaining Trent after starting on the small deals. So the pathway is there if it works too, right? Okay, D'Lo, you had a great year. You're back to your best form ever. Giannis likes you, whatever. You're throwing him lobs left and right, which I think D'Lo is capable of doing. All right, here's the this year's Trent deal next year. That would be on the table as well. I wouldn't expect that to be how it happens, but would be a possible result. So I like that swing. And then my other free agency darling, I'm giving the biannual to Amir Coffey to come in and compete for the 3 minutes. So a potential starting 5 of D'Angelo, Russell, Gary Trent, Amir Coffey, Giannis, and Bob. And then the bench unit of Rollins, Green, Carter Bryant, Zion James, Jericho Sims. Probably need a 4 in there somewhere, but you're pretty big. Oh yeah, Kuz. I forgot Kuz, of course. So you got Kuzma. So then I like that. I like those lineups overall, and that would be and again, maybe I guess Ajax is still on the team too. So my ideal offseason, you don't have both. I kind of neglected to do that, but maybe Ajax goes out in the draft trade or something, which would be sad. But
here's the thing about the draft trade. I want to talk more about that.
Yeah.
It is OKC is 15, by the way.
Okay, so I nailed it. Yeah.
If you don't trade the pick this year and next year, you can trade 3 of them.
How about this? 2032 top 5 protected. Then next year you can do 31 and 33. Let's amend that. That's a great call.
Yeah, let's do that. So that way you can at least have multiple picks to trade next year.
So yeah, next year you could trade the one you're using in the draft plus 31 and 33. So you're totally right. So great amending. 2032 top 5 protected pick, which Sam Presti's like, oh yeah. We talked about this in our Giannis trade pod, which we're not going to do ever again. They do need a centerpiece pick, and that would probably become it. In terms of what's going to have the most future value, a lot of their picks aren't aging great. That one is we're trying.
And if you're the Bucks, you're like, is anything going to exist anymore?
Exactly. We don't care. That's 7 years. Giannis 37 that year.
Is the world going to exist in 2032?
We're going to be bad. So we'll be fine with it. And maybe, I didn't flesh out the whole thing. maybe you get like a future second or something too. Like I think you could probably do more than 1-for-1 on that, but the base framework is you're jumping in to take an exciting wing player in the first round to help with your.
You think you could get
retool?
You think you could even maybe get up to 14 from the Spurs?
Totally. I don't think they want to use that pick.
Yeah. What's the highest we can go? So I'll keep naming teams. 13 Atlanta, probably not. Maybe.
Do they have a higher one in this draft? I don't think they do, so probably not.
No, that is there. 12 from the Bulls, no.
No.
11 from the Blazers, probably not.
Potentially. I'll say potentially because they have a loaded roster. They have a lot of guys already.
10 from the Rockets, probably not.
I think no.
But they do have a lot of picks.
Yeah, but if they're trading with the Bucks, they want Giannis coming back. They don't want a future pick.
9 from the Raptors, no. 8 from the Nets, no. And then this is too high. So I think probably 14 is the highest you can go. Like getting into the lottery, that's kind of good. That's exciting.
I just look at it and go, do you think the 31...
We've already seen a draft pick trade recently with the Pacers and the Pelicans.
I misunderstood that one at first. The Pacers get all their picks tradable again because there were like protections with the pick they got back. So they traded 20-something in this draft, whatever they had.
23.
For their next pick.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have a cap hold on a draft pick this year, making it easier to pay Turner.
Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense. Like, so first I was like, why would they bet against themselves being better next year in a weaker East? But it all makes sense with the context.
Yeah. Like, also like, have you ever seen a team make a trade during the finals?
Yeah, I think Denver did when they were in the finals.
Oh, that's true. They did.
Yeah, this is
they did it with OKC, I remember.
Yeah, because it's so close. I mean, you kind of run out of room if you wait to decompress after.
And how much is the GM really doing during the finals?
Right, like he's, is he calling down to Rick Carlisle of all people and being like, Rick, you got to give Furphy a chance.
Yeah, Kevin Pritchard is just like, hey, Rick,
use my guy.
I mean, Furphy's been the human victory cigar.
I was going to say victory, but they've been losing, so now he's just the human game is over cigar.
No, he's the human victory cigar for OKC.
Oh, for some team. Yeah, that's a good call. For somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's totally, this is a draft where I think it is probably will become a theme. Very possible to jump up because so few teams have all the picks and they just literally don't want to or can't use them all. I also think there's a world where like Utah has so many.
Like diamonds.
Sure. Where don't even give me.
It's like, no,
because you can't just manufacture a draft pick out of nothing and then say it still has value. So a little different.
Okay, that's fair.
Maybe if they had comp.
No, but I was talking about how for diamonds, like one family owns like most of the diamonds in the world, but just doesn't sell it just to keep its value.
Yeah. It's all a sham.
Yeah.
Utah has worse picks after. I don't think you'd get Utah's best pick with that 31. You never know, but I think probably not.
Utah's best pick is 5, so no.
I don't think they like that pick, but then what's their next pick? Do you have it up?
21.
So like, could you do a 2032 swap, and for that maybe I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, but it's like, what's the point? Do you love someone at 21? Like if Carter Bryant's, if Ace Bailey's still there,
a Coward could fall there. It depends. Like that's one you probably don't do until draft, or maybe even the 15 one. I think you probably want to see who's on the board in either scenario. You never know who's there, who they like.
Yeah, I forgot Brooklyn has back-to-back picks, 26 and 27.
They have 5, I think. So they are definitely a team people will be calling. Because remember, we did the thing of like, could you get? 20... They have like a teens pick as well, don't they?
They have 27, they have 26, they have 19.
Yeah.
They have 8. So that's 4.
So if you really wanted to, I think they have a second as well. If you really wanted to go crazy,
Oh yeah, they have 36 as well. Sorry, I was just looking for.
No, you're good. 2032 for 19 and 26. If you really like 2 rookies, I don't know if they want to bring in 2 first-round rookies, but I don't know how they feel about the class. Oh, one note on this while we're doing draft stuff. People are discouraged by the workout list. Don't look at the workout list. They're not all public. Yeah. And I looked back at the last few years. The Bucks worked out
Jared McCain, right?
They worked out Jared McCain. They worked out a lot of first-round guys because they had 23 and 33. They did not work out A.J. Johnson or Tyler Smith publicly. They may have worked them out, but the public ones. And there's always a bunch of undrafted guys, so that it's like, they're not working out anyone in the first round. Like, yeah, I don't think first-round prospects want to work out with a team who's currently only has 46 or 47, or at least publicize that. But like even the undrafted guys, it doesn't necessarily tell you anything. They didn't publicly work out AJ Green in 22. And they signed him 4 seconds. I'm sure they talked to him. They signed him 4 seconds after the draft ended. So the teams are, especially the Bucks, are quiet about this. Like they come out, some of them, but it doesn't give you a full picture of what they're thinking.
Real G's move in silence, like
Giannis,
John Horst.
Real J's move in silence. Better. Yeah. And then
the J isn't even silent.
I thought there was a report that like the Bucks did talk to some lottery thing, and people took it as a Giannis is getting traded thing, but it was like never fully reported. I think someone's dad said, I don't know. I would not stress about the workouts. They'll do what they want to do.
That's a great call.
They don't want to publicize what they want to do. I don't know the last time they actually worked out someone they picked.
Thon.
Publicly. Thon, yeah.
I think it was Thon.
The smoke was that they were going to take AJ Johnson. Like Vecini had that day of the draft, but I don't think there was like a publicized workout that was on like the Hoops Hype list. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I remember Thon's workout with the Bucks. That's the one that comes to mind. There might have been someone after, like Dante or something, but
yeah. So I mean, maybe like 1 or 2 guys in the current GM era, and none in the last like 4 years.
Yeah, and a lot of this is like guys are posting on their Instagram,
yeah,
like hey,
literally, it's like, oh, they're in the Bucks. Okay, cool.
I don't think the Bucks themselves have released a workout.
No, they used to share the list, and now they don't. They've not done that for
years. They're
like,
oh wait, we don't have to do this?
Yeah.
So okay, we're done.
We just won't then. That's fine.
You know what? I kind of respect that.
It's all smoke screens anyway.
If there's ever been an aspect of the Bucks PR where they don't say anything that I'm like okay with, it's the drafts. Draft workouts.
I think they're usually pretty good about not slamming guys out the door.
Yeah, no, I meant the not talking thing.
Yeah, that's not talking. You know what I mean?
That is true.
Not putting
you know
stuff
what?
out.
That's number one. That's number one. Yep.
Some of the Tibbs stuff, and even Towns, I don't even think they're going to get rid of.
No.
One day after the series, they're like, this guy doesn't care about defense. He doesn't know the covers. He doesn't care about
this guy stinks.
This guy's the whole reason.
This guy's the reason we lost.
And you watch the series, and you're like, he's the only one scoring for most of the second halves in these games. They're like, yeah, it's his fault.
They lose in what? 5, if not for Cat?
Yeah, I think at best, because he anchored them in that game 5.
And it's not like, oh, we traded this guy because he's fat.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's one of the worst ones ever.
Yeah. 10 billion, man. That's an unfathomable number.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be more, stupidly.
Well, it's like when the Celtics go for 6.
Yeah, it's the building piece, though. The Lakers, you don't even get the building. I think the Celtics.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh no, I don't think you do it with the Celtics either. Actually, I think TD Garden is someone else.
Is it?
I don't think you get the building in either case.
Interesting.
That's why the Knicks will break it, because the Knicks, it's probably going to be like Knicks, Rangers, Madison Square Garden is all Dolan.
Yeah.
Dolan might sell for like $20 billion. Well, he doesn't have to sell the Sphere as part of it. He can keep that.
You buy the Knicks and the Rangers, we'll throw in the Sphere.
Dude, he'll have enough money where he might just put his own band in there every day.
That's what I would do.
Free admission. I don't care. Who cares?
If I own the Sphere, that's where we would record.
Yeah. I just watch movies in there. You guys we're going to watch Top Gun Maverick. Come through.
Yeah.
That would be awesome in the Sphere.
That would be cool.
I like my propaganda loud.
I've never seen either Top Gun. Shocking, I know.
Dude, good movies. Really good movies. You know, Tom Cruise, you don't have to certainly agree with everything about Tom Cruise. The man can act in action films.
Oh, no. You don't have to sell it. I'm a big Mission Impossible guy. You don't have to sell me.
I haven't seen any of those. And I really want to see the new one.
Oh, you have to.
Where he's hanging out of an airplane. Do I have to watch them in order?
You can start with 4.
Okay, that's good. I plan to watch them all eventually. I just don't get to a lot of movies, especially right now. Maybe in the dead of off season. But he's so impressive. And everyone who acts with him is like, he's awesome to be around too.
Nick Offerman was in the last one, the one that just came out.
Yeah.
And he's in there for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If that. And then he's doing an interview. He's like, I'd die for this man.
Yeah. He is... And he does all the stunts, and they're all real. And he's getting older now. He still does them. It helps that he's very tiny, so he can like maneuver himself more. But
I think my favorite Tom Cruise stunt is it's in 6, Mission Impossible 6, which is the best one in my opinion.
Okay.
Fallout. there's like a scene where he's running on the rooftops, and then he like jumps from one building to the next.
Yeah.
And in that shot, you can see him obliterate his ankle.
Yeah, and he just keeps going.
Absolutely, like they had to pause filming for like 2 months because he broke his ankle.
Yeah.
And that's the take they used because he got up and kept going.
Yeah. I love that stuff. This is not the same level by any means, but I have to bring up Creed. The poster's not in shot anymore. Have you seen Creed, the Rocky movie with Michael B. Jordan? There's a scene at the end where Creed takes a punch from like the big fighter at the end, and it's an incredible and all of the Ryan Coogler, dude, of course, all the cinematography is insane. But he takes this huge punch, and it's this epic scene where he thinks about certain plot elements, and he gets up, and it's very epic. But the scene is so good because he actually takes the punch. And they filmed it like 6 times, I think. So Michael B. Jordan just gets punched by a boxing dude in the face and drops. And it was all real. And it was worth it. Because the fighting in that scene was all... I love the Rocky movies. You compare the fight scenes in the Creed movies to the Rocky movies, and it's rough, dude. It is bad. It's not even close. It's like Rocky's
that might be my next thing.
Rocky's really taking a lot of shots, and these are the punches. It's not even close. Missing. Great, yeah. For the audio listeners, it's like next to his face. Great movies, but the cinematography is not comparable, which makes sense. Different era.
Coogler's a visionary.
Sly was boxing against plumbers. Not really.
What's that guy's
great
name?
Villains. Sylvester Stallone.
No. The
Apollo
the
Creed.
Main guy in Rocky. No, the actor in Dolph Lundgren.
Oh yeah. Oh that's. You know what? Next time you're up here, do you have something that plays DVDs? I have the whole Rocky collection.
I mean, I have an Xbox.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are great. 5 and 6, never watch.
Okay. Apparently, Dolph Lundgren is like a real life genius.
That's cool.
Like in like biochemistry or something.
I like when guys define and anyone defies, perception. Because you would just look at
him. I'm a super handsome actor who's also super smart.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We get it.
Does kind of piss you off, too.
He beat cancer, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's good. One's not actually a good movie, but it's important to the series. So I'll tell you that now. You could... No, I think you should.
What's better, the Rocky movies or Hustle?
Oh, it's so hard to compare. Have you not seen Hustle?
I have seen Hustle.
Man, Hustle was really good.
Because it's Rocky just like basketball or Rocky. That's what I've been
Rocky
told.
4 is better. That's the one with Dolph. Because they literally they beat the Cold War.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's hard to compare.
I guess
it's hard to compare. They could have worked something into Hustle. Maybe they could have resolved some conflicts, but the fight is so inspired. I guess I spoiled. I'm sorry.
I can watch it do a geopolitical.
Yeah, you might come out inspired.
Okay, I was inspired after Hustle.
In a different way, in a geopolitical, and I love geopolitics. And then in 3, big contrast. It's just a guy who makes inappropriate comments about Rocky's girl, and that's the motivation. So they really flipped from that storyline to let's tackle the Cold War, which I love. Sylvester Stallone just like, you know what, we need something bigger to keep this thing fresh.
We need to take it up a notch.
Yeah, let's really take it up a notch. Rocky trains in Siberia. It's a great film. You could probably just watch.
I thought you said Serbia for a second. I was like, Jokic?
No, that would be today's version of it.
That's Hustle 2.
Yeah.
You have to go get drunk with Jokic.
It would be great because Rocky always does like the dual training scenes, and both guys like they do it differently. Dolph's in a lab like with all these Russian like or Soviet people, and Rocky's like lifting logs and stuff, and that's like the whole thing. It would be great if the Hustle 2, the enemy is Jokic, and during the training scene, the one guy's training super hard, and then Jokic is like riding a horse. Or just
has a beer.
Watching TV, drinking a beer with his brothers, like playing a card game. That'd be hilarious, actually. And the music is just as intense for all of it. That's like a famous trope of the Rocky movies. It's like they play a corny song, and it's like these long montages of training.
I was about to start humming, but I don't want to get copyright. Because I'm too good at
I was going to say, that'd be impressive humming. They're good movies. One is a slog. But it's important context. Honestly, you know what? You could probably just skip it. You could probably just watch 2.
Okay.
2, 3, 4.
I'll keep that in mind. Or should I just watch the Creed movies?
You could also do that. Won't be as emotional. No, you should watch you should watch at least 2 and 4. 3 is honestly not that important. It's just a movie. I'd say Rocky 2, Rocky 4 are the Creed movies. Okay. Because Rocky 2 and Rocky 4 are going to define Apollo Creed the most, and that's pretty important context.
Okay. Doesn't Apollo Creed die?
Yeah.
Sorry for spoiling a 50-year-old movie. But...
It's not that old. I believe it was the 80s, but yeah. There's a James Brown performance in Rocky 4.
Oh.
There's a robot butler. They really pulled out all the stops in that
Robot butler?
There's a robot butler. It's randomly a part of the movie.
Crazy.
It's a really insane movie, actually, thinking back on it.
How did we get about this? We were talking about the Bucks.
Yeah, I don't know how we got to Tom Cruise. Oh, Top Gun Maverick, Sphere, Dolan, the Lakers sale. The Lakers sold for $10 billion. I don't think we actually said that. The Lakers sold for $10 billion. A lot of money.
Yeah. Just got to cover NBA.
And now their people are spinning it like, oh, we're finally going to have access to draft and scout better. I'm like, they've been great at that. What are you talking like?
That's been their highlight.
That's like the one thing.
The one thing would have been 10 years ago spending money, which they didn't.
Doing the Clippers and Warriors thing. And now it's the second apron. I mean, I'm sure it'll help them out somehow, but imagine if we could uncover Austin Reeves and Alex Caruso, and I guess they'd probably keep Caruso now, so that'd be the one, but it's just very funny to me to spin we can finally scout when they consistently nail late first and early second round picks.
They've maybe been the best in the league.
Been amazing. I mean, he's derisive now, but Kuzma was a huge win in the late 20s.
Josh Hart,
yeah.
Larry Nance.
They've been really good at that, actually.
They've been really good at it. Maybe Dalton Connect is going to be incredible, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Bronny James scouted him a lot.
Came on in the G toward the end of the year.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be bad.
We'll see.
Bryce James, scouting a lot of him.
On that note.
I don't
want to win on Bryce James as a prospect.
We'll say thank you for listening to this episode of the Gyro Step here on Blue Wire and GSPN, presented by our amazing, wonderful friends over at Prize Picks. I almost said fans. I was like, no, we're fans of them.
I think it's mutual.
Yeah, let's say that.
Yeah.
Mutual fans. Mutual fandom. I think that's just called friendship. That's why I had friends.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Mutual fans of each other. That's friends. Hey, Ty, I'm a fan of you.
I'm a fan of you too, Rohan.
Oh, man.
If only there was a word for it.
If only. Podcast co-host.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the two options.
Yep. But thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening to or watching this podcast on your podcast platform of choice or YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed, leave a 5-star rating and review, and engage in the comments on YouTube. Bro, I've watched Mr. Climax so much. I've watched that so much.
That sounds so bad.
It does out of context, actually.
I need to clip that.
Go and listen to the last pod to understand what I'm saying, please. Please. Because otherwise I just sound like a crazy person. Please. So on the last pod, we nicknamed Tyrese Halliburton Mr. Climax.
Oh, good. I like that we're saying we now. My culpability is
No, it wasn't me. It was you.
No, we did that. You're right. We did that on the last pod.
Pod random. We'll talk to you next time.